Alright guys, today we're going to take a look at the newly released Graham Jarvis edition te300i from Husqvarna. We'll see what's on it, see if it's worth it. So we know KTM has been doing these special edition bikes for a while. It's pretty awesome with the 6 days. They did the Erzberg Rodeo edition recently. And even Husqvarna has done special edition bikes like the 450 for Jason Anderson a while back. But it's pretty awesome that they're finally doing an Enduro specific bike and highlighting an Enduro rider that's huge. Graham Jarvis. Like, everyone knows Graham Jarvis. He's super huge in Europe. He's still a well-known name in the US, which is awesome. So it's cool to see him get some recognition and get like a factory style bike that people can get to kind of to support him and, you know, to feel like they're a part of it. So that's pretty cool. So if you guys don't know Graham Jarvis, he's like 44 and a half years old right now, but he's still killing it. He's known as like the silent assassin. He might not get the gate starts, but he just has such good trials and technique that he just creeps up and takes over races at the end. 2019, he's won the Erzberg Rodeo and the Husqvarna at the Getson Enduro. He just got 7th there. So overall in that Hard Enduro West Series, he's currently sitting at 5th. So the bike that he's riding is a te300i. So it's the TPI version. It's the new 2020. And some of the things they've updated in 2019 versus 2020 is improving some of responsiveness with the TPI. They still don't have a Kickstarter on it, and revised WP suspension and some chassis work. The Graham Jarvis edition bike is offering is a black frame, which is pretty nice. Some of the previous years have used a white frame, and when that paint scratches, it just shows the metal and it just kind of looks like crap. But they did start going to a blue frame, which looks pretty good. But this one, Graham Jarvis is going stealth black on that black frame. He's got the limited edition graphics. You know, I think they could have done a better job with making it kind of more, like getting a better graphic designer to kind of do something more interesting instead of just plopping on the Rockstar logo and the Husqvarna logo. But, you know, that's what it is. That's what he runs in races. You've got the blue triple clamps. This is kind of a signature of the 6 days. You always know KTM 6 days when it has those orange triple clamps. And now when you see these blue triple clamps, you're going to know that dude's got a Jarvis edition bike. The rear sprocket is made by Supersprox. It's got an inner aluminum and then an outer steel. As far as I know, it's still the same stock gearing. So we see on the front of the bike, it has a plastic disc guard covering up that rotor. They say it has limited edition ODI grips. I'm not quite sure if that's just because they're gray or what, but that's one of the features. And the seat is a full gripper seat. It's got the ridges in it, which is great when you're doing hill climbs and you're sitting on that seat. It allows you to not slide back as much and not use your arms as much to hang on. So that's kind of all it has on this bike. And I feel like there's a lot of different things that Graham Jarvis runs on his pro bikes that this bike isn't coming with. So the big thing that's missing here is that there's no included fan on the bike. And I feel like if you're going to get a bike for Hard Enduro, the first thing you're going to do is put a fan on it. And if you get a TPI for Hard Enduro, that's like definitely the first thing you're going to put on it. My buddy that has a TPI that's riding with us, his fan is always spinning out of control. It gets so hot compared to the carbureted bikes for some reason. So really this bike should come with a fan. I think all TPI should come with a fan. It does have Pro Taper bars. Graham Jarvis runs a pretty low bar with a lot of sweep on it. We don't see the rear shark fin, which he runs a aluminum one, actually made by Zip Tie Racing, and I think they're down in LA, which is kind of surprising. This bike has a skid plate, however it does not have the linkage protector, which is pretty crucial, I feel like. There's no mention of a better gummy tire. I've heard him mention using golden tires, and he definitely runs mousses, drilled out and wore out, so they're nice and soft. So there's no mention of a low pressure mousse included in this. Of course, the factory guys are going to run the WP cone valve suspension, but that's probably a little bit too expensive to be offering on a stock bike. It doesn't have the extra triple clamps, although they are blue. They don't have that cool design where the Allen bolts are switched. We don't see any titanium foot pegs or any kind of titanium brake pedals, which he runs. Chain slider is just a normal stock one. He runs a TMD chain slider. That's a super strong one. I actually snapped mine recently, which is pretty crazy. It's super thick, and as far as I know, that's kind of the most heavy duty one, and he runs one of those. And there's no, you know, FMF turbine core 2.1 titanium edition silencer on there, but you know, that's pretty standard for them to not offer that. So there's a lot of things that Jarvis has on his bike that this bike does not come with. There are more KTM and Husky parts that they could have put on this thing to make it better. So when we look at the Erzberg Rodeo Edition bike, the KTM 300 XCW, I did a full video on that looking at all the different parts on it. Some of the things that has that this doesn't have is a rear shark fin. It also has a swing arm tab protector to prevent, that chain guide from snapping the tabs off when you hit rocks. And I know, these different pieces, KTM makes a version of it, and they're not offering it on this Graham Jarvis bike, unfortunately. And of course, we're missing the tugger straps. It's just kind of a quintessential hard enduro thing that we saw on the Erzberg bike, which is pretty cool, came with, but it doesn't come on this Jarvis bike. Trailbound sells front and rear tugger straps. Are pretty cool. We've got the leather and camo, black and brown. If you guys want to check those out and get your bike set up for hard enduro, we've got those. It would have been cool to see that come on this Jarvis bike because he's such an icon in hard enduro. And, tugger straps are just like a part of that culture. It's like pulling your buddy out of something, getting through the gnarly stuff. That's what it's all about. So it's kind of a bummer to not see that included in this kit. So they're saying these bikes are going to drop in the beginning of 2020. And there will be a limited edition. I'm not sure how many are available. And I'm not sure the price. So the price on a te300 is going to run you $10.99. However, this is definitely going to cost you more because it's like a limited edition bike. Jarvis got his name on it. So the big catch here is they're not going to be available in the US. It sort of makes sense because hard enduro is so huge outside of the US. The US is still sort of stuck on this motocross supercross thing, and hard enduro is just like slowly creeping in and becoming more and more recognized, but it's still nothing compared to what it is in Europe. If you watch those races, like hundreds of people are coming out to those races, and they're on the sidelines, they're pulling tugger straps, they've got their mud suits on. They're just all about it. People have tow ropes and they're just like helping everyone out. We don't see that in America. It's still a very small thing. Like if you say hard enduro to an average person, even some motorcycle riders, they're kind of like don't really know what it is. So, for them to not offer in the US, I guess it makes sense. These things are going to sell like hotcakes in Europe, in Britain where Jarvis is from. Like people worship him over there. So they're definitely going to sell. So that's the rundown on the Jarvis Edition te300i. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this bike. Like, what do you think they should have added to this bike? And I'd be curious to know, like, if this was available in the US, would you buy one? And what would make you buy one? So, thanks for checking out this video, guys. If you want to learn more about Trailbound, hit up trailbound.co, see some of the different products we make. We're always posting riding content and reviews on Instagram at trailboundco. So, as always, we'll see you guys out on the trail.